Welcome to the Knowledge Entrepreneurs Show, where we celebrate the innovators driving change in the education industry. At Edison OS, we've worked with over 500 knowledge entrepreneurs to turn their edtech ideas into profitable businesses. Rowan, welcome to the Knowledge Entrepreneurs Show. Thank you so much for accepting my invite to be here with me today.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
A pleasure, Rowan. Rowan, my first question to you, how did you get into this domain of helping course creators?
Yes, it's a funny little. I'll give you the long story, but in short. So I used to be a structural engineer, and I was working for a big company, a big American 100,000 people sort of company. And after a while, I was just hating it. So then I downsized to a small company, and that helped. I was enjoying it for a little while, but at the end of the day, I just still wasn't right. It still didn't sit with me very well. So then I started my own engineering business, and that was great. I had some new freedoms, and I could really see that I was on the right path. But after a few years of running that business, I could see that it was actually just a glorified job. And so I knew that if I wanted to scale my business, or if I wanted to grow my business, I had only a few options really. I could massively see that I was limited in my earning capability and earning capacity by the number of projects that I could actually do every year, the amount that I could charge for those projects, minus my expenses. That was basically my profit for the year. And I knew that I wanted to change, and I knew that I didn't want to take on employees because I've just spoken to so many business owners that employees is like the hardest part of finding good talent and keeping them happy and all that sort of stuff. And I just didn't really want to scale in that way. I did get to the point at some stages where I started looking for some engineers to join the business, but after a while it's just like, no, you know what, I can't do this. And I knew that there were better ways to scale. And so I started discovering and delving into the world of online marketing and online businesses and the different online business models. And I happened to, I started blogging, I started YouTubing, just started taking massive action with online business. And that eventually led me down. I was blogging for probably 4 or 5 years, YouTubing. In fact, I still run a YouTube channel as well as a bunch of different social platform channels. But it was after a while that I started to. I was hearing about course creation and launching courses as a great business model, and I knew it was. It was a very tangible thing. Whereas if I went and spoke to someone about, like my wife or my friends or whatever, about running a blog or affiliate marketing or a YouTube channel, they're always kind of like, yeah, okay, cool, but like that's not a job. How does that make money? And it didn't compute. Whereas launching a course and course creation and selling courses, people get that because so many people have taken a course before. So they're like, oh, okay, so you do the instruction side of things where of that thing that I've looked at and paid for before. Like, yeah, it's kind of like that. So a number of years ago, I started delving deeper and deeper into that. Because I don't know, to be honest, I got a new business coach at the time a few years ago, and I was saying to her, "Listen, I like the affiliate marketing. I'm re-energized by it, even though I've been struggling with it for the last little while. I'm re-energized by it. I just took a new course for it. I've got some new insights. I really feel like I can make this click." But I also really like the course creation path. Like I see it's so scalable and it's an amazing avenue to go down. And eventually the conversation steered towards, you know what, I've got to pick one. So I chose course creation as an avenue to go down. And as I dived into it more and more, I realized that, just like blogging and YouTubing and all that sort of stuff, it's the crux of it is the body and the foundations of it is online marketing. And that's what juices me. I just love online marketing because of the psychology of it and I'm a massive Tony Robbins fan, and so him sharing his insights about why people do what they do, that's I see that hugely in online marketing and therefore in course creation. And so, yeah, that long story condensed to a short story ended up to be a long story. So I'm sorry about that, but that's my journey into course creation.
Oh, no, please don't apologize. I mean, this is what we need to hear before we get started, right? I think one of the important things for listeners is to connect with the person and then probably whatever you have to say about online marketing for course creation. But it's
For
great
sure.
that you said, you acknowledge that online marketing is the overarching theme here and the
Mm,
niche is probably course creation.
mm,
Do you think online marketing is very different for this niche, or in principle it's all the same?
mm. Yeah, good question. Um, I would say there are a lot of similarities to other avenues, but then there are some other avenues. Say, for example, if you were just heading down the funnel space and you wanted to, for example, I'm doing some work. I'm doing some freelance work with a couple of guys in the US at the moment, helping them build some funnels out. And it's interesting to see how they are operating their business. It is quite different to how I prefer to run things and how I believe people should run an online business and do online marketing, which is a bit more of the long game, growing an audience, connecting with that audience, understanding them. Um, I can head down that path a bit more, but these guys are kind of building funnels. They've got a product. They don't. It doesn't seem that they care so much about growing an email list, which is interesting. And they're more about, okay, create a funnel, run some ads, test it, stop it, change it, run another one, and that's cool. That's totally fine. So between what they're doing with funnels and the online marketing for course creation, I find that to be quite different. And, and I'm sure there are many other avenues that you can go down that are quite different to course creation. That being said, yes, I still think the overall principles of online marketing is similar for course creation as it is. In fact, you know what? The, you can very easily do what these funnel guys are doing for a course. You can just create funnels and run ads to it and hope that you can gain some traction. So you can do that. Or you can head down the path of more growing a business out of it by growing your list and doing all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think there's to refine my answer to your question. It really depends how you want to do your online marketing. Do you want to just create a funnel? Do you want to build a list? Do you want to, um, run with affiliates? So many different ways to do it. So how you go about launching a course and selling your course, you can take any of those avenues really. So it's the way you go about it is online marketing.
Great. Couple of interesting observations I have from whatever you spoke, which we will come back to. But before that, when you spoke about these guys that you're working with on from the US and they are working with funnels, they're not trying to sell courses, are they? That's not their product, is it?
No, they're SaaS, so they have a software.
Got it.
Yep.
Here's what I think about running funnels or having the funnel system versus growing an audience. When it comes to, let's say, of course, a course is a product, a SaaS is a product, but slightly different in a way that a course is something that you're learning from somebody,
Mm,
whereas a product is something that you just buy and use it. So I think the importance probably people attach to the person who's doing that
mm,
may be slightly different for both of them. And I think it's more important for people who create courses, who are in the course creation, because the people who you learn from, you probably want to know a little bit more about themselves. And hence, when you talk about building an email list,
Mm.
this is what I was thinking. What do you have to say about it, Rowan? Do you think it's got some?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, my personal opinion is that I mean we all need funnels at some stage. Everything is a funnel, from your social media and getting people onto your list. There's a funnel that can be tracked with conversion rates. There's sales funnels. There's all sorts of funnels in an online business. So we need funnels. But in terms of growing a business, a course creation business, my belief is that it's best to start from the foundations, build those foundations, grow an email list, be connected with your audience, gain insights, understand them. Then start, if you've got some ideas, start trying to validate those ideas. So yes, I feel like the my opinion on it is that you want to create a business out of it, a long-term business, not a flash in the pan thing. There are a lot of it's very easy to see online business as, oh, try this, and all these people online are saying, oh, I'm making, this is my revenue, and all these income reports and all this sort of stuff that gives us shiny object syndrome. And it's easy to think of course creation. I'm going to sell courses and make all this money. It's actually building a business. You have the opportunity to build an online business, with courses being the bulk of it, or it might just be one part of it. Either way. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
Got it, Rowan. Rowan, for the people that are listening, we're assuming that they're yet to create courses, or they're somewhere on their course creation journey. We've spoken a little bit about funnels now. Now, can you simplify the concept of funnels and how funnels can help course creators?
Sure. I mean, yeah, as I said before, there are all different sorts of funnels in an online business. If typically when people are talking about funnels, they're talking about sales funnels, and there's lots of different ways to go about it. Yeah, how do I answer this question most succinctly? I mean,
Probably we can attempt answering it only from the course creator's perspective.
from the course creator's perspective, sure. Yep. Okay, well, I would simplify it by saying it starts with, oh, sorry, just solve that.
No
It,
problem.
it starts with uh, your audience, your traffic. Where are you getting your traffic from? I can delve into that a bit more. I talk about the 3 Bs of traffic: built, borrowed, and bought, but there's got to be some traffic. The first step of the funnel is getting that traffic. It should be trying to get it onto your email list. Now, that might be, there's traffic out there. It might be on social media, for example, and you're sharing your lead magnet, or maybe you've got a website and your blog, and on your blog, again, you're sharing your lead magnet. That the eyeballs, the people sitting there on their computers clicking the buttons, are then going to be directed by your lead magnet promotion, be it a pop up or a form that's directly on your website, or whatever it is. It might be a webinar even. They will then go into the form, fill in their details, and then get onto your list. Once they're on your list, the funnel is then, there's just so many ways to do it. I mean, talking about funnels there's just an infinite number of ways to do it. But then the funnel kind of moves over to email marketing. So we've taken people from blogs, social channels, wherever it might be, ads, and now they're on our email. So we're narrowing down this funnel.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be less people on your email than there are on social media or your blog or wherever. So now we've got them on your email, and you want to be nurturing and emailing them and sharing great value, but also at the same time getting some insights from them and learning about them and understanding what they want. So then the next step of the funnel is going into a nurture sequence, or it can be a nurture sequence. You can go straight into a sales sequence. However you want to go about it, eventually you need to get them into some sort of sales sequence, whether you've nurtured them for a while or you haven't. Then the next step of the funnel is getting them into, well, it depends how you want to do it. Maybe you want to invite them to a webinar. Maybe you want to just have an email sequence that is launching your course, in which case the next step would be email, sales page. You may want to send them over to a quiz that you've created, create a quiz funnel where it goes from your email into a quiz. Then at the end of the quiz, it goes over to your sales page again. So whatever is happening with your email there, it needs to then funnel somehow into your sales page. Once in your sales page, you'll have some people who will read it and click away. You'll have some people who will read it and want to go to the checkout page. Then the next step is the checkout page. And once they get to your checkout page, some people again will click away and some people will purchase your course. So as you can see, this funnel, it can be quite a process from all social media or your blog or wherever it may be, all the way down to your email list, onto some sort of webinar or a quiz or just sales content, into a sales page, into your checkout, and all the way along the way, the people dropping off, there will be people dropping off along the way. So you want to have all compelling content and just great information and good messaging that speaks to these people really well. So was there anything, did you want me to dive any direction with the talk about funnels there, Jag?
Not really, Rowan. I think this is what I understood from what you said, and I think you put it in a way that so you have an objective as a course creator, right? The objective of a course creator is to sell their course. Of course, the core objective is to provide value and all that, but let's break it down into black and white. It's like you want to sell your course. Now, who do you sell your courses to? There are people. Now, you're doing it through internet. So in internet, the market is the social media. You just find people there, and then your journey starts there, and then you want to address them in a more personalized level, and the process of getting them to do that is where funnels are employed, is the way I understood. And I see that from the way you said there are infinite ways. Now I get it. Like there could be a lot of permutations and combinations. You could probably go to a Facebook and then from there bring them to another place, probably your blog. From there you can make them sign up to your email newsletter. And when you have your email, now you can create personalized messages for them. So you have a space where you can interact one-on-one. From a point where you could not do that, coming to this point itself is through a certain funnel. So I think, there could be,
Another way to think of it, a simplified online marketing funnel is TTO, traffic, trust, and offer. So at the very top, we've got the traffic. Where's that coming from? Wherever. Get them onto your email list. That's where you build the trust. And from your email list, you launch your course, and that's where you make your offer. So it's traffic, trust, offer. And that is a funnel that's coming down all along the way, that you'll have less and less people until it gets to the checkout on the sales page, at which point that's where the money's made, obviously.
You also said another way, BBB. I didn't quite catch that.
Yes, that was the 3 Bs of traffic. So where are you getting your traffic from? Built, borrowed, or bought? Just to dive into that a little bit.
Right.
Built traffic is when you're growing something yourself. It might be growing a social media channel. You might be growing your blog. You might be growing your podcast. You might be growing something else you might grow. The things you have to put a lot of sweat equity into
Right.
to grow it. The second B is borrowed. So that's where you are tapping into someone else's built audience. So that could be affiliates, joint ventures, doing this, being a guest on someone's podcast, guest posting in terms of blogs. So that's borrowed. And then bought is running ads. Google, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to run ads, paid traffic.
Great. So you've got TTO, and for the first T, there's another subdivision of
Traffic.
BBB. Yeah.
Yeah,
So there
that's
are
right. Yep.
great,
So it's
great.
you TTO, traffic, trust, offer, traffic itself, the three B's of
It
traffic.
it's
Built,
got a
borrowed,
different.
bought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are a
Yep.
lot of decision points that I can see
Yes.
already.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you for this, Rowan. Although I think we could probably revisit this topic even in more detail. But I think what I was going for was a brief understanding of what funnels is, just for the audience to get a little familiar with that, in case you're going to bring it up in our further discussions. Now, moving on to the next question, Rowan, this is, what are some of the common misconceptions that people have about creating and launching online courses?
Yes. I think some of the three, I'll share three myths with you. One is that my audience is good enough. So, I've built this list and I've got this audience. I may have built a social platform. I've got this massive audience. It's good enough. So back when I launched my first course many years ago, I had an email list of about 1,000 people, and I thought that's pretty good. That's great. I can launch a course and make some money and add some value to this audience. Now, what I didn't realize was that I hadn't actually built enough of a relationship with that audience. I hadn't connected with them enough. I did survey them and work out what some of their pain points and challenges were, but I wasn't really deeply connecting with them and helping them. I was still adding value. I was still sending them content every week, and I had consistency. There were a couple of things that I was doing right. I had the consistency. I was sharing the good, valuable content, but I still wasn't connecting with them on a deeper level. I wasn't as Flynn from his books. Oh man, I'm reading it at the moment. Even anyway, he says, "Pass the ball." The podcaster Flynn. Oh man, he says, pass the ball to your audience. In other words, give them the opportunity to say something, give them the opportunity to have some input and to be a part of the process and the journey.
Right.
So one myth is, or one misconception is, that my audience is good enough. We need to connect with them and really get them involved in the process for them to be good enough. The second myth or misconception is that you just hit record to get started. So I'm a big fan of action takers. Taking action is fantastic. You got to. It's if you're not taking action, you're not going anywhere. But strategy has got to come into it at some point. Now, when I first started my first YouTube channel many years ago, it was called Your Life Designed. It's still there on YouTube. I posted about 70 videos over the space of a year, and it still only has about 30 subscribers. It didn't go anywhere because I was all action, zero strategy. Now, specifically with course creation, why this myth is so important is because a lot of course creators, one of the biggest mistakes that is made is creating the course first and building that course, spending months and months laboring over this course and recording it and planning it and editing it and getting it on the platform, and so much effort that can go into it. But doing that first is not the best way to go about it. I'm a big fan of pre-selling a course. I think that is validating it, and pre-selling a course is one of the best things you can do, and one of the best way for validation is money in the bank. So creating the sales page and actually selling it and getting people to pull out their card and actually buy it from you is the only way. So hitting record and creating that course before you've validated it and before you've pre-sold it even is something you don't want to be doing, something you want to avoid, just as a strategy. And the third myth is a lot of coaches and consultants in particular feel like they need to be showing up live. They're a bit nervous about creating a course because they have a lot of them have brought in clients because of their live and their personality, and they're able to talk to them on the same level and be there. And so they feel like if they're selling a course, they're not there and they're not live, and their clients or their prospects won't buy it because they're not in it doing it. Right. So this is another myth or misconception that they need to be there. Now, creating a course, for the people who believe that and have that belief, I would want to say to them that creating a course is helping more people. They are able to scale and grow and make a bigger impact because they're able to actually capture some other people who don't like to learn live in a mastermind or a group coaching or one-to-one coaching. There are some people who prefer to be able to, take the information and take it in bite-sized chunks and work it around their life and whatever they've got going on and just do it in the background.
Right.
And there are also some people who can't afford the big one-on-one coaching that they might be offering, or even the group program. So having a low-ticket offer or course is something just to get these people into the folds and into their ecosystem, because then at some point, if they keep delivering great value through this first steps kind of course, then some people, they miraculously find the money to start working in the course. It opens up new avenues.
Right.
So yeah, they're kind of the three myths or misconceptions that my audience is good enough. You just hit record and create your course, and then you try to sell it. And then my coaching or consulting clients, they really need me live.
This is great. I've got a couple of questions from this. You said you had a certain number of audience. It could be something in thousands. But then you said that, okay, you know what? I've got my audience. Let me start selling. Then later you realize that you haven't connected with them. So when you say you haven't built a relationship or you haven't connected with them, can you deep dive into that a little bit more, Rowan? Like, what do you mean by connecting? Because you've already provided value. You've already connected with them and taken feedback and stuff. What else you need to do to actually be connected or build a relationship?
Yeah, yep. Pat Flynn is his name, by the way. But some ways to connect with your audience and really understand them, and just it's all about connection. It's all about a two-way street. When it's a one-way street and it's just, hey, it's my show. For example, I've been in a couple of Facebook and LinkedIn groups where the person in the group, they don't actually let anyone comment. They turn off comments for everyone else in the group. So it's just a show. It's just their show with just them. And I just think that is such a big mistake, to not empower your audience to be able to share what they want to share and also add value and share their take on things. So anyway, a couple of ways to grow with your audience or to connect with your audience, as I said before, is passing the ball. It's letting them have their say. An example of this could be if you're creating a course. That's obvious that a lot of people here would be doing that, and so getting them to say, what would you want in this? Asking them some questions. What would you want in this course? Or
Right.
even some things like this might be the branding of the course. Check out this logo I created for this course. What do you guys think? Do you like option A or option B better? If I had this in my course, what lessons would you want to learn in it? Do you prefer, if I create this course, do you really, who here actually downloads the PDFs, or should I just do videos? Just lots of little questions and where they can input and feel like they are a part of the process. Another great example that Jeff Walker talks about is sending your shot across the bow. So this is one of the things that you do in your pre-launch as you're getting closer to launching your course. And he describes that this is, you send an email out, it's a super simple email, and it's got a survey in it, and it basically just says, hey, I'm really excited. I've been working on something for the last 6 months, whatever. I'd love your input though. What are your two biggest, what would be your two biggest questions that you have in relation to niche example, like losing weight or side saddle horse riding or, cooking from home or whatever it might be.
Right.
So that's great because they're going into this survey, or maybe they're just emailing you back and they're starting to become engaged and tuning in like, oh, well, I wonder what it is that they've got. I'll share what I've got. This is getting them engaged. It's also gaining some critical and amazing insights for what you should be putting into the course. It's just a great winning strategy. And then you start leading into the pre-launch content before you're open cut. Okay, let me just think of another one. Another method for really, I recommend this Pat Flynn book. It's a great book called. I'm just terrible at remembering names.
No problem. I can probably help you out here. Pat
Yeah,
Flynn.
I think it's called Subscribers.
Pat Flynn is an author. He's a popular podcaster, founder of Smart Passive. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yep.
Superfans, the easy way to stand out. Okay.
Superfans, of course.
Right.
Superfans. And another little thing that he has from that book is, sorry, let me just try to think. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but just any strategy. For example, he gives an example in the book where Lego was actually struggling as a company,
right,
however many years or decades ago. Of course, now it's a $1 billion company, but one of the things the strategies that they deployed to get their audience connected was to actually go out there and ask. They put a challenge out and said, hey, whoever can come up with their own Lego thing, a castle or a car or whatever you want to build out of Lego, we're going to get people, we're going to show it on this. I think it might have been don't know if it was a social platform or that they put it somewhere and got people to vote on it. And whichever one's got the most votes, they had the opportunity that this would turn into an actual Lego product that they would box up and sell around the world, which is amazing because it would totally, all the Lego fans, all of a sudden they came out of the woodwork and they're designing stuff and taking photos and sending it and getting all this community involved in the process of creating their next product. So that's what it's all about, going back to that shot across the bow. It's helping, getting some help from them to create the next product. So the best way, the overarching principle is get them involved. That can come in so many different ways, but just get them involved. Ask questions, ask for input, ask for advice, you can even be a bit, what do they call it? But where you kind of sharing your emotions and sharing, I need help with this. People inherently want to help. So if you ask for help, listen, I need help with this module of my course. I don't know what to put in it. People are going to put their hand up because they've got a good heart and they want to help someone. So, and when people are contributing, they're automatically, once it gets mentioned again in the future, they'll, I helped with that, and they're in. So, just ask.
Got it. And I think you also probably answered another question that I was going to ask, Rowan. You can add if there's anything else to it. You said, I was really fascinated when you said that, you don't have to create a course. You first do your pre-course creation launch, and then probably go and create a course. But you know how it comes across to people who are just about to start, right? It just seems so impossible. First of all, how do you do this whole thing? What is the starting point? Do you need to have an audience, or do you first have to build an audience to get to that point? You know, all of these questions. I
Yeah.
think for some of which you did answer now, involve the people who you are creating for. But
Hmm.
could you give us a couple of examples, maybe as to, especially for, say, who's going to create a course? You know, how do they go
Yeah.
about doing this?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great question, Jag. So, yes, it is good to start with some sort of audience. You need something. Um,
Right,
as we've spoken about earlier, having an email list is one of the most important things for a long term sustainable online business. So, once your subscribers get up to somewhere around the 200 mark, 300 mark, then you start having a bit of leverage to start asking some questions.
right,
The overall principle of pre-selling your course is coming up. Yeah, sorry. Let's just go back. You've got your audience, then you can start asking them some questions. What are your pain points? You can maybe even start coaching some of them, getting in some conversations with them, gaining some insights from them. When you're gaining enough insights, then you start to see trends. When you're starting to see trends, then you can start to start um, the idea generation, the brainstorming around what you're actually going to create and how you're going to serve them. Because it's super interesting when you build an audience. People are attracted to you for different reasons. There's an example of someone who he was on a YouTube channel, and he had his own YouTube channel, and he was going around speaking Chinese and English. I think he was an American guy speaking Chinese in the streets. You know, very colloquial, lots of lingo, and people were attracted to his channel and subscribing to his channel and jumping onto his email list for a bunch of different reasons. Some of them thought he was cool. Some of them liked that he spoke Chinese. Some of them liked that he spoke English. Some of them liked that he was bilingual. You know, they're all jumping on there or maybe it was even the scenery of the places he was going to for the travel aspect. And so they're all jumping onto his list for different reasons. It wasn't until they started surveying the audience and talking to them and connecting with them and asking them questions that they worked out, okay, there's a portion of the audience who are here for this. There's also a portion of the audience who are into the way I'm speaking Chinese. There's also a portion who are into it for the places I go and travel. And once they worked that out, they were able to go, okay, who are we going to serve? Who is our ideal client going to be out of this? These different types of ideal clients who are here. So then they picked one, and I thought, okay, now with this community, it's actually the people who are tuning in because of the way that I'm speaking Chinese. So they went about creating a course about how to speak street Chinese, you know, how to not learn it in a formal way, but learn it in a kind of, I'm traveling over in China and I want to learn some cool things to say. And so they were able to, yeah, create a course about that. But yeah, just going back and then tying it back to our journey of pre-launching and validating. So it's you've got the audience, you're working out from the audience what their pain points are, their challenges, and how you can, as entrepreneurs, we make our money by solving people's problems,
right,
by serving people. So when you work out what their pain points and challenges are and how you can solve them, now you're starting to get the idea on what your course will be about.
right,
From here, you can start fleshing out the structure of the course and what it will look like. What are the modules that you'll put in there? At this point, you can even start having a bit of back and forth with your audience, as we were talking about just a second ago, to gain further insights. Oh, you know what? These are the three modules that I'm thinking of including. Would you include anything else, or is there anything else that you think might think would be helpful? So we're starting to get our course structure. Now we've got some insights from our audience, not just pain points, but also their dreams and their aspirations and what they want to get to, what transformation looks like to them. Now we can start building a sales page. We haven't even created the course yet, but we can start creating the sales page. Our sales page, it might be a video sales letter, it might be a long form sales page, whatever it is, it might be both. We have our sales page. Now we are ready to launch this sales page and actually validate the idea. At this stage, some people have spent 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 12 months creating a course that they don't even know will sell. So
right.
we've got a structure, we've got an outline. We might have 3 modules, 4 lessons each, something like that. And we're articulating that in the sales page, so people are saying, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to get. And we're throwing in the messaging from the voices of the people that we've been speaking to, all in our sales page. So it's talking to their pain points, it's talking to their struggles and to their challenges and to their dreams and to their aspirations and to the transformation that they are going to experience if they buy this course. So they go through, some people will buy the course, hopefully. Once you start making sales, you give yourself, I should say there's a launch timeline with this. Open cart, we have an open cart. I recommend, you can do it in different ways, obviously, a funnel or this or that. I just recommend an open cart and a closed cart period, typically about a week, up to 10 days, as short as 3 or 4 days. If this is your first course, I'd recommend something like 5 to 7 days open cart. That is the time frame where people know about your course, that your sales page is live, they can buy it, and there's a finish line. And the reason we have the finish line and why this finish line is so critically important is because of scarcity, which is one of the biggest mental triggers. So we want people to know that if they don't buy it in this week, something bad is going to happen. The bonuses are going to go away. The course might totally disappear. The course price might go up a whole bunch. They need to buy it in this week. So there's our cart open to cart close. Before cart open to cart close, we're sharing content, warming them up to the point where they're ready to hear about our offer. That's kind of all you need to know for that time frame. Open cart to close cart, they purchase the program. Then you might want to give yourself a buffer of a week or possibly up to 2 weeks, whatever. It just needs to be clearly stated. The course is going to start X date, which is 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away, 1 week away, whatever it might be. And you want that buffer because if your course is validated, if you get the number of sales that you want to get in order for you to put in the effort to create the course, then fantastic. But you need that buffer to at least make the first few lessons.
Right.
Now, if this is your first course, then you'll want it to be something like a 4 to 8 week live run course. This takes a lot of pressure off having to create a fully pre-recorded, spectacular, amazing, all fully edited course that can take a long, long time. If you do a live run course, it's going to be saving you a bunch of time. It's also going to help you create the best course that you will eventually put on Evergreen if that's something that you want to do. The reason that I'm saying live will help you create that better course is because while you're running this live course, you're running it on Zoom or wherever you might be running it, and you are gaining insights. You're sharing information, but also watching how are they responding, how are they absorbing this. I'm starting to get a bit beyond the pre-selling thing now, but it's important. Knowing that your first course should be a live run thing is important for your whole messaging and your sales page, because that's what your offer is. And it's also important for people who are a bit concerned about the whole pre-selling and validating thing, because as I said, you don't need to create this whole mega course and record it and all that sort of stuff. what else do I need to share about pre-selling? Yeah, that's right. The final thing that I want to share about pre-selling is what happens if you don't actually make enough sales? Or what happens if you make just a few sales? It's totally, if you don't make any sales at all, back to the drawing board. Okay, where did I go wrong? If you've been emailing your list, then you send out a non-bias survey, or maybe you connect with some people that that motioned some interest before. What was it that made you not want to buy? What was I missing? Where was I falling short? Ask for help. As I said before, people want to help people inherently. What about if you made a few sales and it's like, oh man, I've made 2 sales, now I've got to run this whole like 8-week thing, and these people are expecting a community, and it's just not right. There is no problem with going back to those 2 people and saying, hey, listen, I didn't fill enough seats to run this course. Instead, what I'd like to offer you for that same amount of money is XYZ, something awesome. Or you can even say, listen, full refund. I'm sorry to waste your time. I didn't fill enough seats. I'm very sorry, and they'll feel bad for you, and yada yada. So that's what the kind of 2 or 3 main paths with validating. It's either you won't make the sales, back to the drawing board, start again. You might make just a few sales. Then it's up to you. Do you want to refund them? Do you want to offer them something different? Or do you want to just push on through with it? Or validation happens and you made enough sales to go, right, we're onto something here. Let's create this. And yes, at that point, it's hustle time. You've got to hustle to make those first few lessons, and it may feel a bit stressful, but that week or 2 of hustling is so, so much better than months and months of wasted effort that might lead to 0 course sales, which so often happens. And that is for a lot of course creators, the end of the journey. They're like, that's it, I'm out. Didn't work for me. So yeah, I hope that shed some light. And I understand where the question was coming from, because when I first heard about pre-selling and validating, I was like, pre-selling? You can't pre-sell a course. Like, you can't take their money before you've even created it. Of course you can. What about a subscription service where you pay for Netflix, for example? You're giving them money before you've watched a single show of theirs. That's pre-selling. There are so many examples. Any sort of membership program, you're paying up front and getting what they're offering later in hope that you actually get it. So pre-selling it's actually everywhere in society. I can't think of the other examples off the top of my head, but when you start to realize that it's just a matter of collecting the money and then delivering, that's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah, the easiest example that I get to my mind is when you're buying cars. I don't know how is it across the world, but here in India, people wait after paying the money for like as long as 10 months for cars. Of course, they don't pay the entire money, but they pay some amount of money, like a booking money or something like that.
Sure.
So yeah, but going back to what you had to talk about pre-sales. First of all, thank you so much for sharing all this information, because I think it was great, especially what happens if you don't make a sale. What happens if you made only few sales? I think it's very simple. There's no secret formula. I think it's a very logical course of action next. But coming to a couple of technical things that I want to touch upon again. You were talking about open cart to closed cart. Can you explain what they are in technical terms? I mean, like technically what they are. Yeah.
Yep, sure. So in the lead up to this mysterious open cart thing, this terminology that gets thrown around in the course creation industry or amongst course creators, in the lead up to open cart, you're sharing content that is, I can't dive into it too much, it's quite a long concept, but it's walking your prospects and your audience closer to the point where they are ready to start hearing about your offer. You might be, in short, you're collecting people all along the way, but you're walking them from, they might be problem unaware that they even have a problem that you can solve. Then there are the people who are problem aware. They know they've got a problem, but
Right.
they're not aware that they can start solving that problem. They just know that there's a problem. They're feeling it. They're seeing the symptoms, and they're going, "I've got this problem. I've got this issue." Then there's solution aware, where they understand there are solutions out there, and I now don't need to suffer with this issue or this challenge or this problem for the rest of my life.
Right.
It's at that point they don't need to know about your solution, but they just need to know that there's a solution. And then there's transformation aware. So what their life will look like if they take one of these solutions and
Right.
apply it in their own life, and how they'll get over it and what their life will look like and how much better it will be and all that sort of stuff. So it's walking them along over a bridge of content basically, and it's getting them closer to the point where they're ready to not just hear about a solution, but they want to hear about your solution. So that might lead them into a webinar, or it might just be an email sequence. It could be a 5-day challenge. It could be anything that where you want to deliver some content that gets them to the point where they're like, okay, I'm ready. This guy has added value to my life. He has shared some great information about how I can lose weight faster, or he's shared some awesome information about how to improve my cross stitch knitting or whatever it might be. But how do I go? How do I take the next step? Does this person offer anything? What's next? And that's where at the end of the webinar or at the end of your email sequence, you have you say to them that there's 2 ways you can do it. Testing either way is a good idea. One is to go straight into it and say, hey, I've shared all this great information. Now I'd love to share with you about how you can take the next step, or how you can improve even more, or how you can get that transformation that we've been talking about, and start talking about the offer and sharing a bit about the offer, which then obviously leads on to a sales page. Alternatively, you can say at the end of that content, hey, tomorrow I want to share how you can make all this solution and getting out of this pain and gaining this transformation possible. I'll share it with you tomorrow. And that's leading them on to, oh, okay, what's he going to share tomorrow? Intrigue. Either way, whether it's today or tomorrow, it leads into a sales page, and it's like, bang, okay, the cart is open for 4 days, for 7 days, for 12 days, for a limited time.
Right.
So jump onto this sales page, check it out, and I hope to see you in the course, or I hope to see you enrolled, or I look forward to seeing you in there. So the cart open is basically where you officially share your sales page to the world. That's that. And then close cart is, your 4, your 7, your 12, whatever days later, where you say, okay, I'm sorry, but the course is no longer available, or the course price has just gone up. And as you're getting closer, as the days get progressively closer to that closed cart, you're sharing more emails or social posts or whatever it might be about the scarcity and the fact that this is limited. You guys better jump on this real quick because it's going away, or it's changing for the worse.
Right.
So yeah, does that kind of explain cart open, cart close?
Yeah. That was great. Thank you so much. So just a quick summarizing of that, just to see if I've got it right. What is open cart to close cart? First of all, there is something before opening your cart, right? You are talking about your product, how it can help. You're sharing content about whatever you're going to do to your audience in a way that you're leading up to the open cart. And then you reach a point where you say to your audience, you know what, all that I've spoken about, here's where you take action. Here's what I'm offering to you. Here's the cart that is opening, and it's going to be open for a certain amount of days, 7, 12, 15, whatever number of days, and then you close the cart. And this is the entire pre-selling thing. Of course, I've simplified it to a great extent, but I think I get it. I think you need to dig deeper to get more about it. I'm sure there are a lot of ways in which you can lead up. One of the most interesting things for me here is, how do you lead up to your open cart? I think that can be a complete different podcast in itself. Another thing that I wanted to get back to you, Rowan, is you were talking about live course, right? My question was this. So after you close the cart, before you create the course, does it where the live course comes in? And then after the live course, do you go ahead and create the course?
Yes. So my recommendation is that you actually do this launch process where you run, close your cart. You've got a week buffer, 2 weeks buffer. Run it live for 4, 6, 8 weeks,
Mm,
whatever it might be. And that cohort finishes, gaining feedback from them all along the way. At the end of it, trying to get some testimonials from them, gaining more feedback before it even kicks off. Non-bias survey, as I've mentioned previously. I recommend doing that process twice at least to before
right,
you're. It's all about helping you refining your messaging
right.
and also creating a better course. It's refining what the content actually is. It's helping you get better at uh, delivering the course and what should be in there and what can be excluded. What's a waste of their time? Because these days information is cheap.
Yeah,
People don't want more lessons and more hours and hours of content. They want to get the transformation as quickly as possible. They want as little information as they need to get that
yeah,
transformation.
yeah.
So, to answer your question, I would recommend live running 2 times at least to and gaining insights all along the way. Keep your spreadsheets, have the chats, the one-on-one chats with people wherever you can. Send them surveys wherever you can. Just make it super interactive. Love on them. Give to them as much as you can, and they will want to give back. Once you've done it twice, then you can start thinking about recording it and setting it in concrete, so to speak, and from there, whether you want to do launches where open cart, closed cart, or do you want to put it on evergreen, or
Right.
that's yeah.
Great. So the first two batches of people, the first two cohorts of people who are participating in your open cart to close cart, who would have purchased, you do a live version of your course only to them. And then you create a course and then you start scaling up, is what I've taken away from this. Yeah, just to summarize that,
Hmm.
at least the first cohort or the first two cohorts, you're doing a live run of your course. You're not yet recording because that feedback and everything's going to be incorporated. And you made a point about you know not taking too much of people's time to arrive at the final outcome of whatever is the
Hmm.
course is going to provide. And I was talking to another course creator a, a week or two back, and then there is this set of people, at least in India, we look at the number of hours of course duration, right? Oh, you've got just 2 hours and you're charging so much, but
Hmm.
this guy is giving 5 hours just with this much. But I
Hmm.
think what people also need to understand, and what somehow course creators need to incorporate this their messaging, is that they are also saving your time to
Hmm.
convey the same information in a lesser time, and therefore it's more valuable and it can be more premium.
Definitely, yes. In fact, I just bought a course the other day, and after I bought it, he said, "Oh, it's only 90 minutes of video," and there was something in me that was like, "What? I could spend hundreds of dollars on 90 minutes of video?" But then I thought, "Hang on, Rowan. If anyone should know that it's about the transformation and not the minutes or hours of content, it's you." So I
Right.
reeled my emotions back in, but I totally can see how people would get caught up thinking that and feeling that, and so I totally agree with you that that needs to be conveyed, and it's not yeah, that needs to be in the messaging somewhere. Yes, my course is only 2 hours, but I don't want you to get bogged down learning all this sort of stuff that you don't need to know about. I want you to get from where you are to where you want to be as quickly and efficiently as possible. And I've been working on this course for months to refine it down so that you can take the more specific action. Yeah, words to that effect, kind of thing.
Great. Rowan, just to clarify, how much time have you got before you need to hard stop?
I've probably got another 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. so that I can plan accordingly.
Cool.
Rowan, there's another thought that I've been having, from talking to all the people who create courses, is about the pricing, right? Now, let's say I just want to have your opinion on this or your thoughts on this. Can the same piece of information, can they be sold in different prices, like extremely different prices?
Mm.
And
Can the same information be sold in different prices?
for different prices, or let's say, let's replace the word information as a course, because a course is generally giving out some information, a transformation.
Mm. Mm. Um, just to clarify the question, are you saying the same offer can be
Yeah,
sold? Yep.
same
Because.
value. There are two different people, both of
Mhm.
them are offering same things, but I have
Mhm.
seen somehow one person ends up selling at a very premium price and
Mhm.
makes a good thing for himself or herself, whereas some other people think, oh no, I need to price it low, and then they tend to play the volume game.
Mm. Mm.
um
Yeah, yeah, totally. At the end of the day, and that's why I find online marketing or marketing in general fascinating. It comes
yeah,
back to the messaging. The value is in the messaging. Yes, uh, there's some deliverables, there's some PDFs, some videos, and all that sort of stuff. But yes, I totally believe that the same thing can be sold for two very different price points, particularly something like an online course. Um, if yeah, undoubtedly yes, it's all in the messaging. If you can describe and get crystal clear and specific about the problem that you are going to solve and really deeply connect with someone and show that you understand them, then they are going to uh, have that trust and belief that you can really solve that problem. Conversely, you might do a pretty poor job of saying it, and you'd have to bring the course price down a lot. And some people will go, oh, it's not $700, it's $7 or whatever. Um, but yes, it's all in the messaging. So yes, I totally do believe that.
great. In fact, yes, I'm sure you'd have, I was definitely expecting you to say why not, because in theory it doesn't sound any other way. It should be possible. But what I'm more interested in, what is that is a factor for a course to become worthy of a higher price versus otherwise?
Mm.
Is it, you made a point about connecting deeply, so is it about being very specific and razor sharp? Is that what it is that going down to that micro niche? Are these things what sets apart a premium course from a cheaply priced course?
Um, definitely got something to do with it. Yes,
I mean,
it's
you don't have to think of giving a definitive answer. It could just be a to and fro
yeah,
discussion. It's just a
yeah,
thought that I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. I
thinking
mean,
about.
um, it is all in the messaging, and it is how clearly you can connect with and convey and your understanding of the ideal client and what they need and the transformation that you will give them. Yeah, I think going back to what I was saying before, it's dive deep and really share those pain points with good copywriting in a way that it deeply resonates with them and it really makes them feel connected.
Right.
As we all know, we buy with emotions and then we justify it with logic afterwards. So a sales page is very, at the beginning in particular, at the top of a sales page is very emotion driven. It's all, you're here because you're suffering with this, this, and that. I know that you want this, but you can't, you feel like you can't because of that and whatever else.
Right.
And then further down the sales page, we start shifting into logic of these are the modules that you'll have, and these are the lessons, and this is the price, and all that sort of stuff. It's very, two totally separate sides of the brain. So in that first instance, to keep them actually reading down the sales page, it's all about having crystal clear messaging about your understanding of their challenges, their pain points, where they are, where they want to be, and all that sort of stuff. And when we stir those emotions enough, that is when, that can influence the price hugely, and what they are willing to pay for it, I should say.
Great. Rowan, we've spoken everything to do about, up until the point where you start creating courses. You've explained about pre-selling and the nitty-gritties that are associated with that. Now, in this particular aspect, there's just one piece that I'd like to touch upon for whatever time that we've got left, whatever you can share about it, is that, we started off, you can do your open cart to close cart when you set at least a minimum of 200 to 300 followers or subscribers or, audience. Now, what are the best practices to get to 200 to 300 number of audience? What could be a very simple, actionable step that one can take?
Yes, getting people on your list. It depends. Two main parts. Do you have more time and less money, or do you have more money and less time? So if you're already running a business and you've got some cash in the marketing budget, then running ads, getting someone to run ads for you without diving into it yourself. And you might want to set up, you need a lead magnet, basically. Create a lead magnet, which is all based upon the research that you've done, your understanding of your market and your ideal client, and what pain points they have right now that you can solve in one simple step with an ebook, an infographic, a webinar, or whatever it might be. And then get them to run some ads to build your list. Conversely, if you have more time and less money, like most solopreneurs, then you've got to create the lead magnet. Same step. You've got to have that lead magnet and promote it. And as I was saying earlier, it's all about promoting it through building an audience or borrowing an audience. So building, you're getting on social media, or you've got a blog, or you've got your own YouTube channel, and just adding great content, serving, building an energy around it. What I have found is that having done a lot of social media marketing and a lot of blogging and YouTubing, and in fact, I've covered most of the bases in the past, a lot of it, particularly on social media, has to do with an energy that you are bringing and an energy and momentum that you are building. So giving something a go, seeing if it works, seeing if it doesn't work, trying again, taking different angles, send a question out there. Hey, do you want this? Who would like this free PDF? Or maybe a great blog post with a call to action at the end, or maybe a video with some text and a call to action at the end. Whatever it is, you need to start with building your having some sort of, sorry, I should take it back a step. Let's say you're starting at ground zero. Then you want to start going into, well, these days it's a bit different with ChatGPT and AI, and I'll touch on that in a second. But if you've got nothing, then you start going into some groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, where your sorts of people hang out, and just see the sorts of conversations they're having. And if there's a search bar within that group, then search for the things like, how can I, or I need, or those expressions where people are saying, they're trying to solve a problem.
Right.
See what the search results are. What are the problems that these people are struggling with? Jump on Quora, Quora. We all know Quora, the platform, the forum sort of place where people are asking these questions, and start just doing a bit of research. What are different people struggling with in different places?
Right.
And put it all in a spreadsheet. I'm coming from engineering background. I'm all about being
Structuring.
methodical about things. Yeah, having structure. So when you find a question, copy it and paste it into a spreadsheet. When you see some similar questions, you don't need to keep adding all these new questions. Just say, that's similar enough to that first question. I've heard that 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever. When you start, you can gain that with zero audience and zero subscribers, zero followers, and then you start seeing what they're struggling with. You then build your lead magnet around what you're discovering. So,
Right.
as I said before, it might be a 5-step guide to something, or an infographic, or an ebook, or
Right.
an audio, or a short course, or whatever. Then you've got your lead magnet, and then it's a matter of putting the energy into creating great blogs, value-adding blogs, search engine. You've got to have SEO. You've got to be doing your keyword research, build up a platform that way. Doing what you're doing, getting on the podcasts, might be on the podcast channels, on YouTube, wherever it might be, and building an audience there and sharing something that way. Or just getting on socials, sharing valuable information, as I said before, with calls to action.
Right.
Lots of calls to action, as in like one per post or per thing. And don't be afraid to have a call to action. I went through a phase a couple of months ago where on a couple of my posts, I was posting 3 times a day to social media, which is a lot and probably too much, possibly. And some of the posts I wasn't putting a call to action. And one of my friends read my post and said, "Yeah, but I got to the end of the post and I didn't know what to do." I was like, why did I not have a call to action there? Why would I not put a call to action? Because whoever is going to be reading this or watching this, some of those people will say, "That's cool. What's this?
What next?
What next? How does this person help me a bit more? I need help."
Right.
And without that call to action, they'll just scroll on to the next thing. So that's probably the best starting point to gain some insights. Whether you've already got a bit of an audience, then you can gain some insights from them, start asking them some questions, run some polls on social media. Polls are a fantastic way. And in fact, I highly recommend when someone is thinking about the idea for their lead magnet, they've done their research and they've worked out, okay, I might create a lead magnet about this. Don't just stop at that one. Create 2 or I'd say 3 or 4 different types of lead magnets. I've taken a screenshot of when I've done this in the past, and I have it in as a part of one of my webinars. But ask, would you like a lead magnet on the best 5 tips to blah, 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 or 7 ways to blah, blah, blah. And, it's not the same lead magnet, but 4 totally different lead magnets, and run a poll and see what people say.
Right.
From there, you'll hopefully get a clear winner, and you might even go, okay, well, that's the second lead magnet that I'll create, because it's good to have a few lead magnets that you can start recycling. And one week you might promote one lead magnet. This is what I do. One week I promote one lead magnet more heavily. The next week, another lead magnet. The next week, another lead magnet. And so the people, you're then capturing more people. You're just capturing more people. I won't dive into that concept, but is that kind of deep enough? Yeah.
I think that's whatever you said. It's got enough action items for people to jump on and get started at least. At the end of the day, even here, the reason I got onto this topic was we've kind of covered enough. If people watch whatever you've spoken, they've got solid things to kind of go do. And even if they don't, I think you've directed them in a certain path where they can explore and kind of take that step, because I think that's what is lacking today. For example, if I were to put myself in the course creator's shoe, what I took away from whatever you said was, look, you don't even have to create a course. Just go and work on starting off from a sales page, and then go reverse. You've got your open cart to close cart, and then you've got your lead up to the open cart. But before that, build a couple of hundred audience. And I think that's exactly what we spoke now. And I think one of the most actionable items somebody in ground zero can do is go to Facebook group or any forums where there is discussion. And I think to be very specific, one unique insight that I got from you was type out I need, or how can I? Because these are where you're going to discover people discussing their problems
Yep.
and make content around it.
Yep.
So I don't think, yeah, it's amazing, Rowan. Thank you so much for these valuable, actionable, easy first steps. Because these are the most difficult things for people who are starting off, not knowing where to start
Totally.
and
Yep.
losing track of things in the bigger scheme, right? So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. No problem.
uh, this is great. I know that you got to be somewhere. You have a hard stop. Otherwise, I've got so much more that I'd love to pick your brain on. Probably, if you'd like, we can have another part to this.
For sure.
Uh, so yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. It was great. Lots to take away from this conversation.
No
Rowan.
problem. Thanks so much for having me. And yeah, I actually have a lead magnet that I don't know if you share things in your show notes, but one of my best
Oh yeah, we
ones.
will share information. And before I would definitely come back and give you as much time as you want to share what you want. But one final question from my
Hmm.
side is, if people want to know more about you, if they want to reach out to you, you know, where can they find you? Anything that you'd want to share about yourself, please.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that I want to share, and this is a great tip for course creators. You know, when you've I learned this one just recently off a great podcaster where, you know, if you're heading down the avenue of borrowed traffic, which is, you know, guest posting, being an interviewee like I am right now, then at the end, when it comes to a call to action, don't say to people, "Hey, yeah, you know, you can email me here. You can go and check out my Facebook here. You can go and check out my LinkedIn here, and here's my Instagram." And it's just too many options, and people explode. So, what I would encourage people to do, I'll have one. My course creation Kickstarter in the show notes, hopefully. And that is just such a great place to get started. In there, you'll find ways to be able to connect with me, but that is a great place to start to get more eyeballs, get more emails, and get more insights. That's kind of the crux of the 3-step process. And it's got some great action items in that guide. It's a fantastic place to start, particularly for I would say for beginners, but also for intermediate people, because what I find is that a lot of people who are believe they're at the stage where they need to start getting into creating that course, they're actually a little bit, they should be focusing a little bit more on the foundations and getting some more emails, focusing on creating a great email list, a great lead magnet, getting some insights, building that audience, that connection, all that sort of stuff. And so this Kickstarter, course creation Kickstarter in the show notes, it will definitely help with that.
That's great. And yeah, we will have show notes and your course creation Kickstarter in that, Rowan. Thank you once
Amazing.
again.
Thank you so much, Jag. Bye.